Today I'm sewing and sharing a V-neck t-shirt. The thing that elevates this particular t-shirt is the gorgeous painted fabric. I'm using the Painted Frances Tea Kit by Alabama Channon. The kit came with the painted fabric I needed for this project already cut for me, and even the thread was included. Check out this sewing kit that I'm using today, as well as all their beautiful products at alabamachannon.com. I've left the link below, and you can use the code SewHappy for free shipping on your order. This project is quick and easy. I hope you join me. Let's get started. Place your front and back shirt pieces right sides together and pin your shoulder seams and your side seams. Sew or serge your shoulders and side seams with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I've taken the bottom of the t-shirt to the ironing board and I've pressed up the bottom hem all the way around by 1 inch. I've also done the same for both of the bottoms of my sleeves, pressing them to the wrong side by 1 inch. Now, using my sewing machine and a twin needle, I'm going to sew those hems in place. I've taken my neckband to the ironing board and I've pressed it in half, wrong sides together, all the way across. Now, starting about 6 inches away from the raw short edge, I'm going to start pinning it to my V-neck. And I'm going to start my pinning about 1.5 inches away from the bottom of the V, matching the raw edges of the neckband with the raw edges of the neckline. And I've stopped my pinning here, mirrored to where I started on the other side, so about 1.5 inches from the bottom of the V. Now I'm going to take this to my serger and serge 1.5 inches from the bottom of the V all the way around to 1.5 inches away from the bottom of the V on the other side, using about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now your V-neck should look like this, sewn all the way around with the exception of this 1.5 inch section on both sides of the bottom of the V. I'm going to trim off this longer portion of excess neckband, but leaving a few inches of wiggle room on either side. Now I'm going to turn my shirt inside out and fold it in half along the center front, extending from the bottom of the V. Now I'm going to make sure that both sides of the neckline are symmetrical. Everything lines up from the shoulder seam down. Also lining up the loose ends of your neckband. Now that I have that aligned, I'm going to draw a line extending from the bottom of my V up along the edges of my neckband and pin that in place. Now, using the line that I drew as a stitching guide, I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and sew down the line, back stitching at both ends, making sure that you're just stitching the neckband and not catching the shirt as you sew. Now that I have that sewn and the bottom of the neckline V is secured, I'm going to clip slightly into the bottom of the V of my bodice. It's clipping into the V just shy of the width of my serging stitches, almost a 1/4 inch. That clipping will allow me to pivot this fabric and nicely meet with the line of the stitching that I did for the neckband. Now I can continue pinning the neckband to the neckline to close this gap. I'm going to start sewing from where my serging stitches ended to the bottom of the V, just as far as that clip that we made in the fabric. Then I'm going to backstitch to secure, move my neckline tails out of the way, and start a fresh set of stitches at the bottom of that V, snipping, backstitching to secure, continuing in line with my serging stitches from before, again backstitching to secure. Now you can double check that neckline from the outside and make sure everything looks okay, and then we'll work from the inside once again. I'm going to shift the loose ends of the neck binding down towards the serged end of that V and snip off the excess, leaving about a 1/4 inch beyond the bottom of the V. Your goal here with this section is just to move these edges out of the way so that they're not visible from the outside of the garment. Now I'm going to take it back to my serger and finish serging this bottom section of the V so that everything looks uniform on the inside. And as I serge, I'll be catching the edges of this binding as I go. And now your V-neck t-shirt is complete. Thank you for watching this sew along. Make sure you check out my other videos for more great sewing inspiration, and I'll see you in the next video.